Hi, I'm Laurie Langley, and I'm going to take just a few minutes here to talk to you about the working genius. It is a model for how to get work done, how to help organizations become healthier and more successful, and how they can become more cohesive as a team and more productive as a team. So Working Genius is definitely something that can benefit you as a person, as a team member. It can benefit organizations and corporations in building teams and in staffing and hiring. So along with Working Genius, there is an assessment that helps get team members started. And I just want to tell you briefly, we'll give you the information how to take that assessment. It's $25. It takes about 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes to take the assessment. But it's not so much a personality assessment as much as it is a productivity tool. So I think right from the very get-go, I want you to understand that Working Genius is about team members and teams. It's about building teams. It's about staffing and hiring, and it's about how teams get things done. So it's very much a productivity tool. So you'll see next to me is that I want you to see these gears, and I want you to see the letters in the gears. We're going to talk about them. They are the 6 types of the working genius. And in these 6 types, they represent all of how work gets done. In other words, to get a project from beginning to the end, you need all 6 types. Now, the idea is that everybody has 2 as their working genius, 2 as their working competency, and 2 are in what we call your working frustration. Let me explain that a little bit. Your working genius is the parts of the process of work that bring you joy and energy. You get fulfillment from it. You could be like a coffee cup, one of those real fancy coffee cups that keeps the coffee hot for hours. It's like it feeds you energy and joy to work in this way. And then there's those that are called your competency, and that might be one of the, like a Tervis cup or something. It'll keep it warm for a while, but your coffee's not going to stay really warm for a long time. You can work in your competencies, but it's not giving you joy and energy, and eventually if you work in them long enough, you'll be drained. And then in your working frustrations, that's like one of those styrofoam cups you get at the gas station, and it has a little pinhole in the bottom. Meaning if you're working in these areas, these 2 areas that are your working frustration, you're grinding it out. And you can feel it. And as I'm talking, maybe you even resonate with, at least in general, the concept of, boy, when I'm doing this, it's so easy. But when I'm doing this, I feel drained after, an hour, So I think what I'm going to share will resonate with you, or the more you learn about Working Genius, it really will resonate. But let's just start really quickly and talk about the 6 types of working genius. The first one is represented by the letter W, and it stands for wonder. People with the genius of wonder, they love to speculate and they love to question things. They ask questions like, why are things the way they are? Is there a better way? They literally just love to sit and wonder about things. If they work in a particular industry, they might wonder, are we making the right product? Are we delivering it the right way? They love to sit in ambiguity and imagine possibilities. My husband has this genius, so I'm very familiar with it. People with the genius of wonder help create the conditions for the next genius, and that is the I. And you'll see these are all cogs with teeth that represent how they work together. But I is for the genius of invention. And people with this genius get joy and energy from taking challenges and generating solutions. So in the process of work, we need people with wonder, but then it would go next to the people with the genius of invention. They take the things that the wanderer is thinking about and considering, and they say, wait a minute, I've got an idea. And they might go to a whiteboard such as this one and begin writing. They enjoy innovating from scratch. And they love a blank whiteboard or a white piece of paper that's blank, and they love to brainstorm. Invention is the most commonly recognized genius, but all 6 geniuses are needed to get work done. And I do really love that about this model and the information that it's presenting in the process of getting work done. So wonder and invention, first 2 geniuses. Let's move on quickly to discernment. People with the genius of discernment have a natural ability to evaluate the workability of ideas. So wonder is wondered, and then invention, they've come up with ideas. Discernment is then needed to say, wait a minute, and they have the gift, a real gift of evaluating ideas. They are good curators of what's going on around them, and they can recognize patterns. They know how to connect the dots and give feedback on a broad range of topics. So people with the genius of discernment are not necessarily even skilled or schooled in a particular area. This is a genius. Often it comes across like a gut level knowing. They just know. It's a genius, discernment, and it's very much needed in the process of work. Let me move on. Galvanizing is the next one. So after we've worked through wonder, invention, and discernment, we move on to galvanizing. These are the people who get joy and energy, and they absolutely love to get things moving. So in this point in the process of work, we've decided now, wonder's wondered, inventions come up with an idea, maybe how we could do something better, and discernment it's gone through what we sometimes call the ID loop. It may go back and forth here until we've got our idea solid. This is the product we're going to make. This is the features it's going to have. So now comes the genius in the process of work, the genius of galvanizing. They love to get things moving. They are great at pushing people out of their comfort zone and inspiring them to get things started. They enjoy rallying people around the idea and getting them moving in the right direction. So you could have the best idea in the world and the best product in the world, but if you don't have a galvanizer on your team, rallying the people on the team to get moving towards producing this thing or moving in a particular direction on a project in your company, you'd be missing out. You need the galvanizers because you can have the best thing in the world, but if nobody knows about it, or if your team won't rally around it, you can't even produce it. So galvanizing and that genius. And the thing is, people with the genius of galvanizing, they love what they do. They don't mind being disruptive. They want to get this done. In their minds, and I say it that way because I don't have the genius of galvanizing, but the people that do, they're like, this is it. Let's go. Right? Don't you want that on your team? All right, the next one, there's 2 more. The next one is enablement. And this is a good, positive definition of that word enablement. People with the genius of enablement, listen to me, make things happen. I love it. They know how to help, when to help, and can flex to whatever the situation calls for. People with a genius of enablement are people-oriented and want to help realize the vision. They'll come alongside you in the team and say, okay, if this is what we're doing, even come alongside the galvanizers often, and say, if this is what we're going to do, how can I help? The people with the genius of enablement get joy and energy from helping. They want to see this come to pass. They will help on your terms to do what you need done to get the ball, metaphorically speaking, down the field. They'll just come along and help. This genius provides the support needed to make solutions and take them into that first stage of implementation. Lastly, the genius of tenacity. You'll see it represented here with a T. People with the genius of tenacity are task-oriented and they love to take things across the finish line. They ensure a project is going to have its impact, that one that you've planned for it to have when you were up in the ID stage here. They want it to have its agreed upon standards and they want it to get finished. They don't respond to the emotional appeal of the galvanizer as much, but they respond to the need for the work to be completed. I have tenacity, so I can speak from personal experience. I want it done. I want to check it off the list. And I don't just want it done, I want it done how it was supposed to be done. I'm sort of famous for, some of those sayings like, do what's right and do it right and do it the right way, and those types of things where I want to see it accomplish. I used to say, don't tell me that this can't be done. I'll show you 5 ways it will get done, and you can kind of sense that in me. But people with the gift of tenacity, the genius of tenacity, they get joy and energy from getting things done. They don't respond to the emotional appeal of the galvanizers. They mostly just want to see it completed, and they get joy and energy from checking off a box on the to-do list. That's me, I have to confess. So these are the 6 types of working genius. And again, the premise with this model is that every person has 2 geniuses, 2 competencies, and 2 frustrations. Now, you don't always, in your job or in your role on a team, always get to work in your genius. Every job is a 6-letter job, we're kind of famous for saying around here. So you have to do even things in your frustration sometime. But at least this is my frustration. I've got, this part of the project, I've got to grind it out. And if your team members know, it's such an affirmation and an encouragement on itself to say, well, at least they know this is hard for me. And I'm not really good at this. Maybe that too, that your team members would know she's really taking one for the team. This is not really her genius, but she's going to get it done. And so, there's one more aspect about working genius that I want to share on this video, and then I think it will be enough for you to consider, I hope you will, is that there are benefits to you. You personally, as a team member, to know I'll just speak that way, how do I best contribute on this team? How can I best bring my best self as a team member? And what can I do that brings me joy and energy? How can I, hopefully, it would be ideal if as a employee or a team member, I get to do 65 to 70% of my week's work or my month's work in my working genius. And then the other percentage would be competencies and frustrations. But even, like I said, when I know I'm not in my genius, that's helpful because I'm self-aware and how I can be my best self on this team. And so as a person, when you're going out, young people as well, there's a young people's assessment that was just released within the last 30 days. So if you're between the ages of 14 and 20, there is a special working genius assessment just for you. And it will help you as you move forward in school and in career choices and job choices. It helps you to know, this is me. These are my geniuses. This is how I would best flourish in the process of work. So there are benefits to both team members as well as teams as a whole. I feel like working genius helps deepen an understanding between team members. So if you feel like you need that on your team, a deepening of trust on your team, working genius will help with that, integrating that into your team. Working genius helps avoid relational judgment. Again, knowing, okay, well, Donna's my friend, she's on this team, and her geniuses are discernment and wonder. And so if we're in a different place in the work, maybe we're all the way into the enablement and tenacity, which is sort of low to the ground, if you will. If you think of working genius in the term of elevations, and I didn't want to take time today to get into that, but there's some realities there where wonder and invention are higher. And as you get down to the ground, you're with tenacity, enablement and tenacity, maybe 5,000 feet from the ground, and tenacity being 1,000 feet to the ground, a lot of the work, the actual work gets done in ET or GET, but that doesn't mean that they're more important than the rest. It just means that that's the dynamics there. But if I know one of my team members or if I'm the supervisor or the CEO or the manager, I know that we're in a part of the work that isn't her genius, I'm more understanding when maybe she doesn't respond as much as someone else on the team or whatever, because depending on where you are in the process of a project or the process of work, different team members will have different amounts to give to that part of the process. I hope that's making sense, but I think it does. I want to also say that I believe Working Genius and integrating it on your team will help boost morale. It helps team members to feel seen and known and related to in a particular way based on their genius. Again, not that we can give everybody exactly what their genius is in a project to do, but we're trying and we understand, okay, you're a galvanizer, discernment, and we would love to be able to use you more in your geniuses. So that really boosts morale. Working Genius provides a way to understand more clearly how each team member would thrive in the process of work. I think I alluded to that already. It helps team members align with what they're trying to accomplish as a team and their role in it. Working Genius helps with that so much. It helps inform each team member and the team leader how they would best function in a project or initiative. It aids, this is so important. One of the things that we can all agree, I believe, I'm looking into this camera, but I believe that everybody watching this would agree with me. If you're an organization, you have to have meetings. Now, that doesn't mean you have meetings every day or every week, but every organization has to have meetings. And sometimes meetings become these boring or confusing or unclear, powwows that you walk out of there and you're just really more confused and not clear maybe on what the point of the meeting was or what we accomplished or what we agreed on. Working Genius helps unfrustrate your meetings and it will help you to lead better meetings. This whole idea of the elevations and where are we in a project or in a process of work, it really helps with meetings, and it also helps with hiring and staffing, and it will help you and your team increase productivity. And what team is not interested in that? So productivity, effectiveness, efficiency, these are all very important on a team, and Working Genius will help with that. So let me just take this time to thank you for watching this. If I've piqued your interest in Working Genius, I hope you'll contact me. I love, again, to do assessments with individuals. If you have your team each team member do an assessment, I can build what we call a team map and go over that with you and help you see areas where you have strengths, help you as a team leader understand what it means for each of your employees to have particular geniuses. And in the relation to what you do, if you're a church or a nonprofit, or if you're in the corporate sector, how that would affect your team and the process of work that you regularly engage with. I can help you with these things, and I hope you've picked up from what I've told you today that I'm very passionate about it. I think it's a valuable thing, and it's affirming, and it's so encouraging for your team members and for your organization as a whole to integrate Working Genius into what you do and to become healthier and more successful. And I believe that you'd find it well worth the investment you make. So if I can help you, please let me know. We at Langley Leadership Group are about you, about your team or your church, about you reaching your goals and your purpose. We want to help you with that. So contact us. And again, thank you so much for your time. I hope it was of benefit to you.